Gotham Knights is back, and they took some advice from Willow.
Hang on, no, do it again, that was rubbish.
Last episode, they destroyed Batman's legacy, and then they had a break, and came back, ready to do it all over again, doubling down on Batman being an evil, horrific human being. These CW writers seem to absolutely despise the very reason for their show's existence, and they can't wait to tell you about it repeatedly. We start at the lake where Castiel dumped a body, and it's been found he's the DA. He's met enough criminals who are stupid enough to get caught in his time. You'd think he'd know how not to get caught, but no, he's as useless as that as he is at everything else.
After an unsuspecting jogger
out on her usual run came upon human remains.
I don't know how she managed that unless she was running through the lake. If Aquaman found it, you'd have a bit of an excuse, but a jogger just means you couldn't even tie it down properly. So obviously he's worrying, but for some reason thinks he's being set up, despite the fact he's carrying around a Court of Owls mask in his briefcase. I think most people by now would have realized I'm doing this, but apparently Castiel, he's not the brightest. Maybe the brains went to the other personality. I think by the end of this, I'm going to have a Pavlovian response to that music. Walk down the street, hear it on a phone, and just come out in a cold sweat. Luckily, the odds of anyone liking this show enough to use it as a ringtone are extremely small, so at least it'll be a rare occurrence. But Castiel comes for the autopsy report.
Time of death was about 6 hours before she was found.
6 hours before she was found? Castiel, you're the DA. You couldn't even hide it for longer than 6 hours? I thought you at least sank her in the lake for a bit. What was even the point of taking her to the lake to begin with? She would have been hidden longer if you just left her at the power station.
And they're looking at Turner Hayes for this.
Turner? There's no way he did this.
To be fair, he's the only one that has reason to do it. She did kill his dad. If anything, saying he didn't do it is the weird bit.
She's got a hole clean through her. GCPD likes the sword ammo.
Is that how we judge police investigations now? What we like? She's got a hole in it, and you know, I do like a good samurai sword. Steve over there loves nunchucks. He just hasn't found a victim yet. Seems to be too difficult to do any damage with them.
But not as much as they like his DNA under her fingernails.
I mean, it's a weird thing to get a kick out of, but this is Gotham, so anything goes.
All due respect, I know you had a relationship with him.
Wow, you can't drop that one on us out of nowhere. Oh, by the way, Turner was banging in the DA. Although it does put some other conversations into perspective.
Have to trust the evidence, and the evidence points to Turner.
I love how the evidence is there's a hole in it, and she touched Turner once. After this show, you should definitely start up your own police procedural with complex plots like this one.
What I have to do is uncover the truth.
You can't handle the truth. So with that, he starts investigating because the police aren't going to do anything. He goes back into his office, gets the mask, and takes a blood sample from it before sending it off for testing. Acting like that's why you get the big bucks.
How could you do that?
You're gonna have to be a bit more specific, love. This is episode 9.
After all of the times that Turner risked his ass for you guys, you just abandoned him to the Court of Owls?
To be fair, you set up your long-term boyfriend to go to prison for you for 5 years. Are we sure you're the right person to be teaching about the loyalty of friendship right now? By the time he got out of prison, he was just gonna be happy he had a month.
Hey, I'm in the choir, Blondie. Let's preach to these heathens.
Based economy.
I have no idea how he ended up in a scenario where Joker is the only moral person in the team.
If we'd have gone after him, we'd all be dead and there'd be no one else left to save Turner.
Gotta be honest, still not hearing a downside here. If you'd gone after him, you'd all be wiped out and would have been left with Joker. She could have got saved by Granny and set up the next generation of entertainment. They travel through a dimensional portal and end up in the Willow universe in season 2. This is win-win, folks. Get She-Hulk in there and I think we've just invented the perfect TV series.
Pointing the finger is not going to bring him back.
Nobody'll make me feel a hell of a lot better. No, the point of blame is to make sure that the horrific cretin can never do it again.
But it does show you who you can count on.
Joker, I'm on your side, but if you looked at any of these people and thought you could count on them, we've been watching an entirely different show.
You don't get to lecture anyone about team spirit. You left us for dead in Wayne Tower to go fence a watch.
Okay, Robin, but why don't you tell us about some of the bad things she's done? We didn't know it at the time, but she was the hero in that scenario.
Yeah, and Turner saved me anyway, because he would never leave one of us behind the way that we just left him.
Okay, but now he's captured by the villains and he's about to die. I feel like that may be showcasing a flaw in his plan. Don't look at losing one of the Gotham Knights as a problem. Look at it as a cause for celebration.
There's still time to save him.
Oh, there's always somebody ready to crap on your strawberries, isn't there? I was having a good time, dude. Now you've got to ruin it.
Wait, what plans? Well, I'm betting they don't include asking for vocal tips from the former Glee Club president.
I'm sorry, but what does that line have to do with the rest of the scene?
I'm more concerned with our plan.
I wouldn't give a crap if your plan was to jump off a bridge, to be honest.
What plan? We have no idea where they took him.
I've got new information. I think he's being kept under a bridge.
Stealing a painting, which is actually a map, which just leads to nowhere.
Well, that's obviously not true. true, considering the Court of Owls had it, and they said it was going to lead them to it. So they obviously knew how to read it, and you're like, oh, I don't know. If I don't know, it can't physically exist.
What do you mean?
It means just because he doesn't know how to find something, he thinks there's nothing there.
It's just a map of old Gotham. There's no X marks the spot, nothing to indicate where it might be.
Dude, I know you're a zoomer, but there are other ways to mark a map rather than X marks the spot. Do you think Alan Wayne's done something a bit more complicated than written a big X on a place? He hid this map in paintings. Do you think he might have encoded the answer a bit?
Nothing.
Well, if someone of his intellect can't find it, nobody can.
Don't artists usually sign their work in one of the lower corners of a piece?
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing to tell us on this map where it could possibly be. There isn't any markings on it at all, apart from this big, massive symbol on an island somewhere. Do you think that this one huge, gigantic marker symbol might actually be where on the map it is?
There's no X marks the spot, nothing to indicate where it might be. Nothing.
Nothing. Big X marking the spot.
That's not where Alan Wayne initialed this map. Look.
I mean, how stupid is it? Look! I never noticed that before. The only distinguishing mark on the entire thing.
Yeah, that is weird. I didn't even notice that.
How do you not notice that? Oh, that is weird. I didn't even notice. The only thing that stands out on the entire page.
Alan Wayne was an artistic noob?
Or he knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, if by knew what he was doing, you meant could actually fool people with an IQ under 45.
And this is his version of X marks the spot.
Which would be incredibly stupid. 100% deserves that expression. So they come up with a plan. We know where they need to go. So if we get there, get the Electrum first, we can blackmail them into actually giving us Turner back in exchange for the Electrum. Yeah, just give the evil supervillains the method of creating an infinite amount of immortal assassins. What could possibly go wrong, folks? These are the heroes.
I want to save Turner as much as you do, but giving the court exactly what they want seems like maybe a bad idea.
So in other words, it's right up your street then, love. I'm actually surprised you didn't come up with it first.
What other choice do we have?
Anything else? I mean, I've heard of the company slogan, don't be evil, but the Gotham Knights seems to be, don't be evil, let somebody else do it for you. They're not just evil, they're lazily evil. Of course, now we skip to Turner. He's got a bag over his head, which means things are looking up for the show. Well, briefly anyway. For some reason, they brought him back to Wayne Manor. Look, it's cheaper if we reuse old sets, especially if we can use those sets with the same cast that were in there a few episodes ago, because we can film them at the same time. Look, you don't get to be the cheapest CW series ever for nothing. That takes work.
Why am I here?
Well, that's a deep question, love. How long have you got? Well, I suppose it's deep if you mean life. If you mean in Gotham Knights, money. Money, mainly, is the answer to that one.
What do you want with me?
Well, I'm hoping for a horrific end to a horrific story, personally. I mean, yes, nihilism may have taken over most IPs, but on this one, I think it's deserved.
You might as well just get it over with.
I don't want to kill you.
Oh, don't lie to him, mate. I don't believe that for a second. After reading 9 scripts of Gotham Knights, your internalized rage must be off the charts. But then he reveals his face, and as always, it's Blondie's boyfriend's father, the one whose wife is getting with Castiel. I tell you what, the family trees in this show are like one of those puzzles where you've got to match the starting point to the balloon at the end with all the squiggly lines. Just goes all over the place. But with that, he reaches for a jar of honey. It might be worm secretion, I'm not sure at this point. All of Hollywood is tainted, we can't be sure. But he dips the blade in it, and obviously, this is the poison which drives you insane. The same poison which has killed multiple different people. So as you're preparing this knife, going, I don't want to kill you, evidence seems to be to the contrary.
Because I believe you deserve to see the truth behind the mask.
Batman's mask. I believe you should see the truth, that Batman is evil, and he'll only be good when he engages in wealth redistribution. These are the same writers that want to pay rise, remember? I say it a lot, but I think it's worth keeping that in mind when we watch this stuff. So with that, he administers the worm fluid. Turner doesn't seem to enjoy it quite as much as the prince from Willow did, but then again, the person doing the administering isn't quite up to the par that they had in Willow either.
I admit I'm disappointed.
The cameraman wasn't there, was he? What can I say? Budgets affect everything, including casting choices.
Bruce Wayne wasn't the man you think he was.
No, he was. It's just that the writer's now trying to retcon his legacy. Remember, Turner isn't a character that even exists. They made Turner up, all because they're so desperate to say how evil Batman is because he's actually successful in business. Oh, and helps people. Yeah, he helps people because they despise that.
And deep down, I suspect you feel that.
I'm sure all of this is at the audience and they're basically just gaslighting people at this point. You know, Batman was evil, really, don't you? Yeah, going out and stopping criminals. What had they ever done to hurt anyone? So with that, he starts to get the hallucinations kick in, and we enter a dream sequence. Now, I don't know if I said this before, but my most hated things in TV series are dream episodes. Luckily, this one is very brief. It doesn't feel like it, but it is very brief. Each show of this feels like a lifetime. It was like, my head, and there's bells going. We keep seeing clocks. Oh, it's symbolic. Maybe this is time travel. Maybe he's gone back to when people might have been alive. And he hears voices. People calling out to him. And he just starts screaming at the Court of Owls. This isn't real.
Lincoln, I know this isn't real. I know you're watching.
How can he be watching? It's in your own head. Although, given the rest of this plot, I wouldn't be surprised if he could, because this episode takes Batman from just like a rich guy with technology straight into magic.
Well, here I am. Come on. Let's go. Let's do this.
Oh yeah, you're the big odd man when you're hallucinating inside your own face. You weren't saying any of this when he was right in front of you with a knife, though, were you?
Come on!
Just his pent-up aggression at the writers coming out there.
Just tell me what you want.
What you really, really want. Zig zig ah. So he starts to wander around his house, collapsing against the walls because for some reason inside his own hallucination, he's still affected by the poison. No, it doesn't really make sense, does it? That wouldn't just mean that you were poisoned and hallucinating. That would mean that a poison was making you hallucinate that you were poisoned. It's just Inception all the way down at this point. So he sees a painting of presumably Bruce Wayne with his face cut off. Either that or it's covered in a spider's web. I wouldn't put it past Gotham Knights to introduce Spider-Man, despite the fact that he's a Marvel character. Let's face it, these writers aren't gonna know that. So then, Gotham Knights turns into an episode of Scooby-Doo. Yeah, we're gonna run in one end of the corridor and end up back straight at the other one. And then we do it again. Oh, creepy. You managed to do a cut on an empty room. The skill involved in this is astronomical. Okay, the longer this goes on, the more it reflects my experience watching this show. It's weird. If you say make it stop, I've never felt more represented in my life. I didn't think I could do anything, but now I've seen myself on screen in a hallucination brought on by poison. Now I too can make terrible television. I feel like this is an empowering moment that lifts up all of us. That's a wall, mate. Who runs down a corridor and doesn't even know to stop at the other end? This isn't a game of bumper cars. It doesn't increase your turning speed. Oh no, not bats. In a Batman show. Why would he be running from bats? He likes bats. He's Batman's son, and he went in the Batcave. He doesn't dislike bats. If you're gonna do that to him, you've got to set it up. He's not, oh no, I'm scared of him all of a sudden. Mind you, remember, this is a CW show, and he's got dangly bits, so he's probably scared of everything. We're lucky somebody doesn't go, Turner. Don't say that name, it startles me. But then he wakes up in a different room to find his parents. We've travelled back in time to a time where his parents are alive in his own face.
We've missed you, kid.
Dude, it's your own parents. There's no need to look so horrified about it. We should stay dead. Over to the Court of Owls now, digging at the location where there is absolutely no markings on the map whatsoever, even though there is. Dumb and Dumber have come to visit, but they brought their most powerful weapon, privilege.
Chances that a geological study is randomly occurring at this very moment in time.
That was a long way of going. Do you think they're here randomly?
If probability equals the number of favorable outcomes divided by the number of total outcomes.
Which it isn't. Just because you don't find an outcome favorable doesn't mean it doesn't have a possibility of happening. I think you mean desired outcome, or at least the outcome that you're looking for.
They beat us here.
Well, if they're digging for electrum, it doesn't look like they've found it yet.
It's those big brain takes why we bring you along. It's like when you lose something and you go, well, it's always in the last place you look. Yes, because I'm not going to find it and keep looking, am I? Oh, stupid saying in all of existence, that one.
There's one way to find out.
What, go up and ask them?
May I?
Oh no, she's actually being serious. She wants her to go up and ask them. Why would they keep looking if they'd already found it? We're going to ignore the fact the story doesn't make any sense because we've got an ideology to push, folks. If a guy started doing this to his mates, he'd get punched in the face. Just saying.
I'm not really feeling it.
Wait, I'm sorry. Are you using me as bait?
I mean, it's understandable. It'd certainly increase the viewership of the next Jurassic Park movie.
Way to set feminism back a few decades.
Based economy.
I think that's the message we should all take from this. Compliments are bad. From now on, you can only comment about how everyone looks like the back end of a cow. That's true empowerment right there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have a better idea?
And the truth comes out. What, do you have a better idea? Or are you going to go over there and outsmart them? Are you insane? Are you going to use your intellect? I've seen your intellect. Undo that button. It's the only chance we've got.
Fine.
It was just a suggestion, love. I didn't expect you to do it.
Desperate times, desperate measurements.
And no one is more desperate than you. Where's Willow? I need some quality entertainment again.
Hey there, Mr. Construction Worker.
I mean, I'd say this was a bad pause, but she pulls his face for quite a while. And don't worry, yes, I know I've got my thumbnail. It is astonishing, though, how easy it is to get a man's attention and how badly they still manage to write it into the script.
In your hard hat. How deep can you dig?
See what I mean? I mean, at this point, I get the feeling Borman from Willow would be better at it than you are, love.
It's a distraction, not a seduction.
Well, it certainly wasn't a seduction, I'll give you that one. A distraction? I mean, maybe out of pure creepiness? You're like, oh, please, get away from me, love. I can't concentrate on anything else. because I'm desperately trying to get away from you.
Why was I nominated to be the distraction?
It's the only thing we could think of to get you even vaguely related to the story. I mean, let's face it, your talents are hardly wide-ranging, are they, in this show?
Because you're very distracting.
Oh, great, love. That's like when someone goes, I love your personality. You've got really nice cheekbones. Yeah, thanks, love. You're saying I'm beautiful because I've got bones in my face. It's like Jimmy Carr says, if anyone says beauty isn't skin deep, just imagine how bad you'd look without that skin.
Now go.
For once, we say something I can agree with. Well, that explains why the Japanese women used to carry around a paper fan. Someone's a little bit flushed, are they? Got to have a bucket underneath her just to stop the dripping. Look, sometimes your mouth just says things and your brain catches up to it later.
Hi, I'm sorry. I think I'm lost.
Yeah, that's right. Dumb and Dumber's entire plan are just to walk up to somebody and go, oh, I'm lost. Can I get directions, please? This is meant to be an empowering moment. I am using my natural talents for good. Like, yeah, you just walked up to him and stood there for a bit. I'm not being funny, but I could do this. He'd probably still give me directions. If you want to watch better versions of this, go and watch BBC's Hustle. They had a character whose job it was to do this and set up far better storylines.
I was wondering if maybe you could help me?
Oh, yeah. Sure thing.
This might be the most complex episode of Gotham Knights I've ever seen. Can you imagine writing this scene and thinking, yeah, that's a good job done there? Is this why the WGA wants a minimum amount of writers in a writer's room just so somebody can tell you how talentless you are? I mean, look, if there's 6 people, one of them must have the testicular fortitude to tell us we suck, right? So while she's talking about, oh, I thought there was a coffee cart. I'm not joking, that's the plot. The one sneaks up behind him and steals his walkie-talkie.
Great, just this way. Thank you so much. Thanks.
People are like, why do you like Willow so much? Because it's this. This is the alternative. Willow was bad and funny. This? What is this? So they start listening to the walkie-talkies to get information about the dig, whether they found it, etc.
We're coming up on the 20th hour here. Wouldn't it be easier if we knew what we were looking for?
Yep, that's right. They're digging for something that they don't know what they're digging for. If you don't know what you're digging for, how do you know that you've not found it yet? These are the kind of questions that they write in thinking they're being ever so clever, and yet they make the villains look ridiculous.
If they wanted us to know, they'd tell us.
It doesn't matter what they want, it matters what you need to know in order to do your job.
We could sneak onto the site after nightfall, do our own dig.
What do you think that's going to achieve, love? This is an entire company with dozens of people digging with heavy machinery for 20 hours, and you think you can find it if you sneak on at night time where you can't see anything and there will definitely be security on there. That's the kind of high-grade plan I expect from you, love.
Any chance Colin has work boots and a hard hat? I'm sorry, did you change your hair?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't care.
And this general area?
Okay, I don't know whether this writer is just really obsessed with people's fashion sense, or whether this is just like a last desperate attempt to try and claw up a few viewers. If you want to play that angle, you tend to have to do it from the start.
What if they haven't found Electrum because they're digging in the wrong spot?
That's right, it's time for his master plan. Remember, this is the same guy who didn't notice the massive symbol on the map when he said there was no symbols on it.
These holes have been bugging me.
I can understand why. It seems ridiculous that someone would drill holes into a map.
They're way too clean to be wear and tear.
I'm sorry, but what kind of wear and tear makes holes in aluminium that frequently? It was in an art museum. Or do you think museums hang up the painting by getting a drill and going straight through it? I have a feeling that might damage the value of a Picasso, although no more than his complete lack of talent. Yeah, that's why people come to these Gotham Knights reviews. Occasionally you just get a random piece of art critique. Picasso is trash. That's the kind of depth of opinion that keeps people coming back to this channel.
They're way too clean to be wear and tear. They're deliberate.
Of course they're deliberate. They're clearly made by a drill.
What if it's something else? What if the holes are the map?
The only surprising thing about this scene is it's taken us 9 episodes for the Gotham Knights to start talking about their holes. But notice how none of this is logical. It's just, oh, I've realised it magically out of thin air. And don't worry, we've not stopped yet. Sherlock Holmes, this isn't.
What do you think? The constellation?
Oh, of course, you were the first one to bring up astrology. Oh, I'm looking at the sky now, and there's something going into Uranus. Might be your head.
The constellation?
No. What, we're really gonna group out as Sagittarius?
How is Joker the only sane person in this team for any topic on Earth? Go on, tell him what you think about crystals next. It'll be amazing.
It doesn't look like Morse code either.
That's Robin for you, the person you can always rely on to make a spoon look smart. Yes, Robin, it's not Morse code because there's only dots. It's only Morse code if the person that wrote it is a snake just going repeatedly. It's not often you get to make a Morse code joke.
What does it look like if you connect them?
I think we found the intellect level of the writers here. We're basically playing a game of connect the dots. Tune in next week for painting by numbers. But no, they literally go and connect the dots. Just look at the concentration on his face. He's never thought this hard in his life. Ah, it's a squiggle. I think Willow broke me yesterday.
starting to look like
A cry for help.
Skyline.
Or that, I suppose. They draw up the dots and it just says, fire me, please. Oh, hey up, don't show this to Kit. She might get a bit overexcited.
If we line up the holes with the Gotham skyline, then maybe we'll find the location of the Electrum.
And how, pray tell, do you plan on doing that? Yeah, this is the skyline of somewhere in Gotham, from some position in Gotham at some point in time. Really narrowed down the possibilities there, love, haven't you?
Assuming this map was created in this exact belfry, ported back in time 100 years to look out at Gotham's old skyline.
Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one treating these characters with the disdain they deserve. It's like the show was written by two writers. One who did the Joker, who just takes the piss out of the entire show talking about how crap it is, and one for everyone else who thinks they're amazing.
Oh my god. You're brilliant.
I've got to be honest, that's not the response I was expecting.
Really? Because I just pitched time travel.
Yeah, we're probably going to save that till next week. And after what happens in this episode, time travel is a legitimate possibility because anything seems to go.
Yeah, not you, Carrie.
Oh, of course, yeah. Why would we listen to the entertaining cast member when we can compliment the spoon?
Can I borrow your laptop real quick?
Sure, but wash it before you give it me back again this time, will you? So he says, among all the paintings that were stolen, they took one of the Gotham skyline. So what if the map is meant to match up with the painting? So they move the lines over the painting and ta-da!
You're right, I am brilliant.
Yeah, humble too, love. Notice she is taking credit for something she had absolutely nothing to do with working out. It's the guy that worked out it was to do with the painting. She just went, oh, this looks like a skyline. Do you think it could be a skyline? I'm brilliant! Yeah, you're as brilliant as the other two people in the group are geniuses. But they realise now they're in a different location, the signature's under a different spot, and so we can dig. Back to Turner now and his delusions. Let's face it, if you were in Gotham Knights, you'd want to hallucinate a different reality as well. And he seems to have hallucinated himself into the TV show Haven, which is understandable. It was a far better show. Also didn't get cancelled after the first series, which is always a plus. The best thing is, in Haven's lore, this could actually fit.
We are so proud of you, Turner. You're not real.
You have to be really self-aware for that to be what makes you realize, I'm hallucinating. No one could be proud of me. I know you're lying. My real parents would call me a disappointment.
Look at me, look at me. We are real to you right now.
Yeah, because he's hallucinating, you're not really arguing with him. So this goes on for a long time. He's like, I really want you to be real. Oh, no you do, and we love you back. Oh. But the parents take a dark turn.
Bruce gave you a whole new world. Everything we never could. He helped you forget about us.
This is the moment we destroy Batman. Yes, we loved you, but he took you from us. He gave you things we couldn't. He made you forget about us. You ever ask why? Time to say that Batman is evil.
Helped you move on.
If you were so deeply affected by our deaths, then why didn't you look a little harder?
Yeah, we start by suggesting that actually it's your fault. You really should have looked for our killers. Look, we know you were distracted. We know you were a child, but you were with Batman, the greatest detective of all time. How come he never found out who killed us? We quickly jump back to Castiel, who finds out that the blood sample he took earlier is Cressida Clark, so now he knows that the mask that was on his face is definitely related to the murder, and so he does what any normal person would do in this scenario when you find out you've just murdered somebody. Starts a vlog. Maybe this could be the start of his YouTube career.
And the Harvey Dent that you know is not a murderer.
Did you catch that? The Harvey Dent that you know implies there's one that you don't know. Do you want to add a little more emphasis on it just to make it even more obvious as we smash it into your face? No one's going to spot the twist coming here, despite the fact that you've repeatedly been telling everyone throughout the entire series about it. So Dumb and Dumber are out again on their own. I mean, at this point, you would have thought they'd learn that they needed an adult to make decisions for them, but no. But no, these two geniuses think they can do it alone.
He died tripping balls on Talon drugs, looking for the Electrum he hid in a desperate attempt to save his life.
Yeah, we're just going to plot dump that on you. They realise that they're close to where Alan Wayne was killed, and so he probably didn't die randomly. When he was poisoned, he was getting into the Electrum to get it so it could cure him. Now, you would have thought that the Court of Owls that knew all of these things could put that together. Maybe start looking for it. No. They're not in high school. You can't expect them to realise that. So these two have a magic beeping device, which magically detects rocks. I'm not joking. They actually have a rock detecting device, which works through rock. Don't worry, I mean, they probably just popped into Walmart and bought it. They're all the rage. So using their mobile phone rock scanning device, she's like, yeah, that's definitely a load of rocks. Wouldn't you expect Alan Wayne to bury the sequel to Eternal Life just in a pile of dirt on the floor? Remember, he was a Wayne. That means he's incredibly stupid.
Granite.
Oh no, you mean Electrum isn't in this pile of dirt on the floor? Oh, I'm so surprised. So they start just randomly scanning walls. There's quite a lot of stone in stone walls. Maybe it's just me.
How is that thing supposed to detect an alloy that's so rare it may not even exist on planet Earth?
It can't.
Every episode has a sentence like that. And they always deliver us as if we're really smart, yeah. How do you do this? We can't. And then we're about to do it anyway.
But it can filter out the frequencies of known alloys.
Yes. All you've got to do is reverse the polarity. I mean, admittedly, that was done in Doctor Who. They use the same excuse. How do you scan something you can't see? Well, I realised that if you photograph something you can't see, and then you feed it back into yourself and get a negative, it means you can see it. No.
We just gotta find the aqua now.
Yeah, just find the thing that you can't detect because it detects everything else. Genius.
I'm sure Turner would take comfort in knowing his life hangs in the balance of a homemade rock detector.
Notice what she says there? They keep talking about an alloy, which would mean it was metal, but it's not. It's a rock. Otherwise, she would have just said a metal detector. They could have used a metal detector in this scene, and it would have made sense. The only reason this scene is so stupid is because of the way they design their own story. Just say it's an alloy of metal.
Freak may not be bat tech, but...
Oh, hang on. She's scanning another pile of dirt on the floor. Yeah, Wayne probably shoved it in there, love.
And we'll have Turner back before prom.
Oh, what a surprise. It wasn't in that one. You blow my mind.
Turner is many things, but my prom date is not one of them.
Well, he could be. Have you considered asking?
Fine. Your friendship will continue to reap its benefits.
I have no idea why. 2023, she's probably got a roster going anyway.
Turner is like a brother to me.
Have you considered a holiday in Alabama? But no, this is Gotham. I don't think that'd stop anybody in Gotham. So with that, she gets so annoyed and thinks maybe I can scan better with this mobile phone. Takes it off her, despite the fact that she has no idea what it is, how it works, what its range is. But don't worry, because she immediately finds it in the wall. What can I say? It looks like blondes do have more fun, at least according to this writer anyway.
That's good, right? Let's find out.
Do you not know? You're the one who invented the machine. That's good, right? Well, I mean, it is crap. I did just make it out of some junk we had lying around on my mobile phone. Someone might just have their microwave on, but they smash a hole in the wall and find a box with a piece of trash in it. Although if you judged it by the music, you would think that that was the most glorious thing on earth.
Houston, we have Electrum.
I mean, when you've seen it, you can understand why they were getting it confused with random dirt on the floor. Hey, look at it. It looks like a burnt Rice Krispie cake.
I thought it'd be bigger.
Same.
Me too. Agreed.
All right, you size queens. It's not the size of the boat that matters. The size of the ocean.
Okay, it offers humans immortality. Maybe cut it some slack.
Calm down, love. I don't think we've hurt its feelings. We don't have to be nice to the Rock just because of your insecurities. So the Joker has a plan. I'm going to try and break it in too. The immortal Rock. Yeah, it doesn't go well when a knife breaks, though.
That was my favorite knife.
But it's nice to have a hobby. Does it have a name?
You're lucky we need you, you stupid rock.
Why are we acting and talking like the Rock is a person?
Or what, you'd break another knife trying to kill it?
No, we'd have to do that. We can just crush it under the weight of a Hollywood actor's ego.
It's indestructible?
Yeah, but nothing can withstand the weight of a Hollywood ego, love.
The whole point, it lives forever?
No, the whole point is that it makes you live forever. It's not a real person. It's a rock.
Society, I'd want the Talon protecting me to be impervious to death, too.
Asterisk decapitation not included.
They actually have no idea whether that can cure decapitation or not. It's not been tested. And it only happened yesterday, so they've not even given him a chance to come back alive. But don't worry, if there's one thing you can rely on in this series, it's for Robin to be a fun sponge. They are right. The point is they shouldn't know they're right unless they've read it in the script.
Use the alloy to save actual sick people. Study this. It could revolutionize modern medicine.
Yeah, we could have an entire Earth full of invincible, undying people. I don't think you've thought that one through, love, have you? But then again, this is Robin. She hasn't thought through anything in the entire series.
Collecting dust until we can actually figure out a way to find Turner.
I think I know how to do that.
Well, that was lucky, because you didn't 5 seconds ago. Yeah, well, we seem to be at a dead end in the script, and I actually can't see any way forwards. I've got one! Well, I mean, where did that come from? Well, we'd written ourselves into a dead end, and then it just kind of popped into my head like somebody had just put the thought in it. There's no reason for it, it's just the way the world works in Gotham Knights.
It should just be a simple triangulation of radio waves.
And how, pray tell, are you going to triangulate radio waves from one position? I have a feeling that's not as low as this scene is going to sink.
We could try a true range multilateration.
Yeah, why don't we try true range multilateration? Oh, I'm sure you know that. Everyone knows that. I mean, they don't, but I'm sure everyone else does. Yeah, true range multilateration, where you determine the location of a moving vehicle using multiple distances and multiple spatially separated known locations. Multiple locations. And they're doing this from their one location in a tower. The term Google it has never been more true.
This gets us even more specific.
Yeah, it gets more specific because you use more locations than triangulation. You can't get more specific from one location.
Radio.
I can run it through my program to pinpoint the coordinates.
What has your program got to do with any of this? You're still only in one location.
Okay, is this something we need to understand?
Well, it's seemingly not because the writer writers didn't understand it, so why should you? In fact, this is one of those, the more you understand about it, the worse it gets.
Or can we skip to the aha moment?
What, the laughing? Yeah, just skip to the laughing. In fact, do that with the entire show, it'd be way better.
Which could lead us to Turner.
In theory.
In theory.
In this show, there's a definite correlation between smugness and stupidity.
Harper played this nice from the jump, we would have cleared our names months ago.
This is them putting shipping names into their own TV series. See what this just comes across as fan fiction?
Sorry, Sharper.
What?
Harfany?
Yeah, Sharper's better. But somehow their plan that can't work magically works, and they find out the location. They find out it's Wayne Manor.
Why would they take him there?
Actually, that makes perfect sense.
Do you want to explain why it makes sense for the audience? I don't think it makes any sense at all for the TV show. To save money on the budget, yes, but for the TV show, no.
Okay. Alright, so we got the spot.
Are we not going to explain why it makes perfect sense? No one's going to go, what do you mean, you crazy bin?
Okay. Alright, so we got the spot. What do we do when we get there?
Get caught and spend the next 3 minutes writhing in agony? I mean, it's just a suggestion.
Hopefully something that doesn't involve giving a bioweapon to a murderous cabal.
You could leave it at home, then go there and get captured and writhe in agony. We could all come out of this much happier than we went in. But they notice the Joker's gone, and so is the Rock. They rush off to stop her, but it's too late. She's going anyway. I don't care what this Rock does. I want to save his life.
What are you doing? I'm doing exactly what you should be doing.
Why does the Joker keep getting better every episode? Did you notice that the Joker had to completely give up, put her hands down, and just walk backwards? Because there was no way she was going to get pushed by Robin, who's a foot smaller than her. And with that in mind, it becomes even more obvious how stupid it is that Robin is beating up men.
You can't just give that to the most dangerous people in Gotham.
I definitely can. And more than that, if they are arrayed against you, I'll take pleasure in it.
Dangerous people in Gotham have your friend!
No, I think the most dangerous people in Gotham are you lot, to be honest. Certainly a danger to my sanity, anyway.
When we could use that election for good.
Good? Have you met me?
Well, you're the best part of this entire cast. But she's like, no, I've met you. I've met people all like you. You're all the same, and I can help you. She's like, what if this Rock can save everybody?
What if we could do both?
Oh, forgot about this. Oh, yeah. If you thought the Gotham Knights was bad so far, it's about to get worse. Look, the plan so far has been horribly written and nonsensical, but nothing is more stupid than what that guy does. His plan is to make a fake rock. Just from that, can we see any flaws? Well, this is an invincible rock that can't be damaged, and it brings people back from the dead and heals them of any injury. It can also apparently be detected very easily by something that you can just whip up on a phone. And this is the Court of Owls who have been using Electrum all this time and will guaranteed know the difference between something real and something fake. But you know, if he's made a copy, he must at least have made it out of a similar substance, right?
Which is which? If you have to ask, that means Cullen killed it.
Or she could just attack it with a knife and see if it reacts the same way as it did earlier. No, we forgot about that bit, despite the fact that we wrote it into our own plot. So he gives the real one to Robin, because only someone that insufferable can be trusted with the power of immortality. I don't know why.
Well, I just painted a lump of kiln-fired clay to pass off as a meteorite.
Kiln-fired clay. Renowned for being unbreakable, isn't it? Clay. Pottery. Renowned for being unbreakable. You know, you drop a plate on the floor and it opens up a crack in the earth. And on top of that, he then painted it. Painted pottery that would scratch easily. This is the worst fake ever. It doesn't even stand up to minimal scrutiny.
I'm sorry, weren't you the one who told me to give her a chance?
Yeah, give her a chance, not your I'm sorry, but I just think there's some kind of middle ground there. There's a place we can stop between why don't you be polite to her and does she have any hidden piercings?
I just don't want you to get hurt.
It depends where the piercings are, to be fair.
Sue me.
Unfortunately, emotional distress from voluntarily watching television isn't a crime. But we go back to Wayne Manor.
Did you even try to find out who murdered us?
He was adopted by a billionaire. He was far too busy partying. But this is where they start guilt-tripping. You never tried to find our killers? You were with Bruce Wayne, the greatest detective who ever lived, and he never bothered to try and find our killer either.
It's like you never even noticed we were gone.
He moved into a mansion. He probably just thought you got lost in the East Wing somewhere.
If I could have brought you justice, I would have. But he could have. Bruce Wayne, Batman.
The world's greatest detective.
It's time to destroy his legacy, folks. Look, in the last episode, he realized if only he stopped and actually redistributed his wealth across the poor, then he would solve the entire world's problems. Whereas in this episode, we find out he is the cause of those problems as well.
Why didn't he?
Maybe he read the script and realized this is how badly you'd be treating him after he was dead.
Why didn't he catch our killer?
I don't know what that expression is, but if I'd seen it first, I wouldn't bother either. You're trying to look like the first Max Payne video game. Looks like you're less angry about someone not finding your killer, more that you desperately need the bathroom.
Should have stopped at nothing to find our killer.
I would have stopped at the first coffee shop, to be fair.
Should have stopped at nothing.
Just like you've stopped at nothing because you didn't murder Batman.
But Batman murdered us. Ah!
Why didn't he catch our killer?
Why didn't he?
I don't know, maybe he'd met you. So obviously, when faced with the realization that your parents are absolutely horrific, he tries to run away, but they're also in the room behind him. So he runs back, and he comes around. Turns out it's the guy that's just saying it all along.
Why didn't he? Why didn't he? Why didn't he?
It's been you the whole time.
And with script writing of that quality, I can understand why you want a season 2. I mean, seriously, that competes with Kylie Minogue's la 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 la. I almost fell off my chair from the exquisite prose.
What do you want from me?
The answer to the question.
Yes, he wants him to admit that Batman was actually evil and killed my parents. He only adopted Turner out of guilt, because he destroyed his life. The way they treat Batman in this is sick. They truly despise him as a character. No wonder people aren't just making a Batman TV series, because all of the Hollywood writers think he's evil.
You were raised by the world's greatest detective. You can figure out why he never brought your parents' murderer to justice.
I don't even understand how that logic works either, to be fair. You were raised by a bricklayer. Surely you can build a house? No! And even if skills were passed down through, like, genetic memory through the family, he's adopted. Just because you grow up in the same house as somebody doesn't mean you have their skills.
You could have asked him yourself if you didn't have him killed.
Based economy.
Okay, maybe they had one quality line out of the episode.
But would he have given me the truth?
Well, he was Batman, and he's not going to be scared of you, so yes. But he goes on a big long monologue. Children lose their parents every day. Hundreds of children are in the orphanage, but for some reason, this time, when it was you, specifically you, he goes to the funeral and adopts you. What was special about you? Why you, out of the hundreds of people which he ignored before?
Of all the hundreds of innocent, desperate little orphans living in this city's filth.
Oh, I didn't realize it was set in California.
So many things about your life suddenly make sense now, don't they?
Yeah, that's because you wrote them that way. You invented a character and wrote his character to have loads of holes that this explanation could fill, but it doesn't make any of them true. Oh, look, we destroyed the law with our fan fiction. Now it makes sense, doesn't it? No.
We all know that Bruce could never move on from his own parents' murder. Why did he press you to move on from yours?
Because he'd lived that life and didn't want the life that he'd led for somebody else. He couldn't move on and knew that that damaged him as a person, and so he wanted to bring up the next generation, provide him with a better life than he had himself. You know, what every good father wants for their child. Only Hollywood would try and twist that instinct into something horrible.
Deep down, you know this wasn't luck or fate or some winning lottery ticket.
I really hate this as well. Deep down, you know the truth. How? How would he even be supposed to know that you know it's true? How? You have to provide evidence and facts, and yet the only thing which has happened in this entire scenario is he poisoned the kid and went, oh look, your dad was evil, and he's gone, oh yeah, he was. Why do we keep believing the villains? And why do the writers keep making the villains actually be the ones telling the truth?
This wasn't compassion or charity.
Because it's Batman and he's not capable of compassion or charity. If he was charitable, he would have given away his entire life savings to people who haven't earned it.
This was guilt, Turner. He gave you everything because he'd already taken everything from you.
And yet he didn't take the only thing that really mattered. This acting gig. Imagine the pain and tragedy he could have saved you from.
Because Batman made me one.
Piss off. We've literally gone from Batman doesn't kill anyone to Batman might kill criminals to Batman kills innocent people's parents.
Realizing that everything you thought you knew about your father was a lie.
And this is what they do next. Literally gaslighting the audience. Everything you knew about Batman was a lie. I know you thought he was good, but actually he wasn't, and we know the truth.
That his legacy that you've worked so hard to live up to.
Isn't it interesting how they bring up his legacy, which they are actively trying to destroy? It's like, we know Batman has a legacy, we know people like Batman, but don't worry, we can retcon it.
I cannot begin to imagine how you're feeling right now.
I don't know, if you've watched my videos, you should be able to guess, actually.
Of your life trying to prove that you were worthy of him. He was never worthy of you.
Writers were never worthy of a keyboard either, but it never stopped them crapping this lot out. They didn't need a spell check, they needed an editor to read it and just go, no, we're not letting it out, no. We've got more respect for our brands than this.
Freedom to create your own legacy.
Notice how they're perverting the word freedom as well. Freedom from responsibility. No, freedom just means you can be evil and get away with it.
You want to show me freedom? Untie me.
Oh, I would never win that fight.
I'm surprised you're actually complimenting him, though, to be fair. Did you just see blonde hair and get confused about which character you were talking to?
You have potential that my own son threw out the window.
That was actually quite impressive. You actually simultaneously complimented Turner and crapped on your own son at the same time. Turns out the daddy issues are all over the place. Find out what he wants with Turner, which is weird because they've already offered something to him before and he turned them down. And you're like, oh yeah, he's going to give him the same offer. No, now they want him for something else, which has only happened in the meantime, so I don't actually know what they wanted with him before.
You killed the man who killed your father.
Now that is the first time we get told that beheading the Talon actually kills him and he can't be brought back. But if you remember previously in the episode, the Gotham Knights already knew he was dead. dead. And the only way they could have known that is if they read this part of the script first.
How did it feel to be more powerful than even your father, the Dark Knight?
I can get unlimited power! I'm not sure this is the best sales pitch. By the way, Batman killed your father. But now, if you join us, you could be just like Batman, but better. But that is his offer indeed. Why don't you become the next Talon for the Court of Owls?
He denied your parents justice, so why not become the one who delivers it?
Because if I was going to deliver justice, you lot would be the first people that would actually need it. It's not a real good sales pitch, is it? You're defining yourselves as justice.
Join us.
But the issue is, we've seen what makes you cheer. Luckily though, at that moment, the Gotham Knights have arrived. Because the Joker has arrived and she's got a plan. Why they didn't just bring a gun, I'm not sure, because none of the people in this room are fighters. As we found out in the last episode, when the moment somebody pulled out a sword, they just all ran away. Only Talon could fight. There isn't even any security here. So they could rescue this guy in an instant. But for some reason, no, we need a fancy plan. Oh no, please don't tell me the only thing stopping him coming with us is a singular blade. It's not as intimidating as you think it is, mate.
Ooh, sexy hardware. I figured this would be formal, so I dressed for the occasion.
Yeah, it turns out she's been watching Batman movies. I do love how they watched The Dark Knight and thought, you know, we can do better than that. How can we do better than that? Well, let's just have multiple grenades.
You must be the Joker's daughter.
Looks like he watched The Dark Knight as well.
Oh, anything Daddy could do, I can do better.
Oh, of course. Why would I expect anything else? This is the CW after all. Of course I'm better. I lack dangly bits. That instantly allows you to get a +7 bonus in all skills. It's the improved center of balance, you see. It allows more blood flow to their brain. But everyone starts to back away and they propose a trade. We'll give you this rock if you give us the useless guy behind you.
Your magic rock for Turner's life.
They're not even hiding it anymore. They're even calling it a magic rock themselves. Because magic is the only explanation for that crap.
Try anything at all, they're gonna be picking up feathers for miles.
We probably just should have had a Joker's daughter series at this point. They probably would have tried to have done a love triangle between herself. But even if it ends up in a sort of me, myself, and Irene situation, it's gonna be better than this.
Don't test her. She's crazy.
You'd have to be to sign a contract to work in this show, mate. But it turns out that the leader of the crime gang, which has ruled the city for hundreds of years, well, he has a bit of a plan. So he takes the knife and just cuts Turner's neck. He's like, hey, if that is the magic rock after all, well, you'll be able to save him with it, won't you? It's quite a good test to see if it's real, but it doesn't guarantee him getting it at the end. I mean, really, he should have just taken it off him and scratched it with a knife a bit to see if the paint comes off. Either way, he asks them to go and save him. They can't, so he realizes it's fake. That's until...
Daddy would have had a plan B.
Plan B didn't fit in her jacket.
Yeah, that's actually how they introduce her. And the burnt Rice Krispie cake.
Let me heal him and it's yours.
Yeah, but why? Even if you heal him, you still don't have to give it to him at the end. It's not as if he's even threatening any of you. You're surrounded by a load of rich people who can't fight, and you're a gang of heroes who can fight. You would win any scenario in this room. I don't know why we're just giving in to evil. Either way, she goes, gets the rock, and just puts it on his neck. Doesn't even move it over the wound or anything. She just touches him with it, and his neck heals. Like I say, it's magic. I actually thought maybe they did something with it. Maybe it was a scientific process. You put it in their bloodstream or something to give them regeneration powers. No, touch them with it, and they magically heal themselves. It's like nanotech or something, I have no idea. What I do know is it's absolutely ridiculous. So the leader puts out his hand like, well, you healed him. Now give me the most powerful item in all of Gotham, even though I'm completely evil and your arch nemesis.
I held up my end of the bargain.
Why did you give it to him? There is no need to give it to him. He's evil. You could just lie. I held up my end of the bargain, yes, and I'm not going to because you're evil. It's a perfectly reasonable and moral thing to do. But now I've got the Rice Krispie cake of power.
Turner? My offer still stands.
Yeah, but he doesn't. He's lying on the floor, desperately trying to survive. But with that, they take him back to the tower, and he's fine. She's incredibly happy. So happy, she might open a couple of buttons later. She starts rubbing his chest where he got stabbed, asking him if it hurts. Oh, we're like brothers. That's why I'm touching your chest all the time. Yeah. Where did you film this? Norfolk?
Honestly, after everything Lincoln put me through, I'm just happy to be here with you.
Looks like that poison had long-term consequences after all. It seems to have completely obliterated your sense of taste.
You know you can talk to me, right?
The dude's just come back from the dead. Don't make him regret it. But as they gaze longingly into each other's eyes, as apparently brother and sister do in this TV show, it's very weird, and hold hands. I mean, is that why Batman killed Turner's parents? Was his family tree just a straight line? But as they do it, the other bomb defusal expert comes up the stairs, sees them together, and gets incredibly jealous. Oh no, Blondie might be with him. Because even though Blondie has already told her, we're like brother and sister, she knows that doesn't mean anything in 2023. Yeah, she's seen those search terms. She's gone off to find a washing machine. But we're stuck with Robin.
You made the right choice tonight, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you gave an incredibly powerful magical item to the most evil people in the city. Now they can create an infinite immortal army of assassins that can take over the entire world. 100% made the right choice. I mean, you didn't even need to give it to him. You just chose to. Voluntarily. No reason. Definitely the right decision. You know, you couldn't have just kept it or anything.
There's a few people down there who'd agree.
I don't think that the moral arbiters should be the group of criminals that you've got downstairs. I think there's better people that can make a judgment.
You knew there was a good chance the court would call our bluff.
Yeah, I have no problem with her bringing it to him. It was handing it over voluntarily I've got an issue with.
You didn't even want to give up the election.
Yes, she did. She did it voluntarily. She was under no pressure to even do so, apart from him going, well, you did tell me you would.
But you knew it was a better option than Duella's bomber jacket.
Those aren't the only options when somebody asks you to do something. And there is a middle ground between capitulating to what the evil man wants and just detonating a grenade in your pocket. I live in that middle ground every day.
But giving the bad guys the means to live forever, it's not exactly out of the Bat manual.
That's because Batman was a far better person than any of you ever will be, despite the fact that the show hates him and is trying to destroy him.
But it could be the first chapter in the Book of Robin.
Is that how you want to start the Book of Robin? With a failure. But then we go to Joker, who's desperately trying not to explode. So Turner comes along and undoes it.
One wrong tag and kablooey.
Oh, if you want kablooey at the end of it, normally that means you've done it correctly. But as he undoes her, helps her take her jacket off, and they stare longingly into each other's eyes. He can really only do one thing. Expel the contents of his stomach all over the floor and collapse. Who knew that getting stabbed by poison could have some kind of long-term consequence? Despite the fact that we knew what poison he'd got stabbed with because multiple other people had got stabbed with it. In fact, the Talon's signature trademark is that he gave people that poison and then they all died. No one had thought about the end of that story when he got stabbed with it himself. They're not the quickest horses in the shed, are they? But we're not going to think about that now. It's back to Castiel. He's filming an apology. Basically laying out all of his defense, everything that's happened to him. And it's like, I promise it's not me, bruv.
While my body may have been present, my mind was not.
I'm not really sure that'll fly as a legal defense. So we find out he's been recording this for 3 hours, fills the memory card, and finds that this is the second recording. Somebody did one first. It's named to Harvey, and it's the other him.
Hi, Harv. It's me.
Should have said it's you, surely. Hiya, Harv. It's you talking to you, and you're me. Got you.
You.
Oh, he'd made that joke himself. That's the second time in 2 days I've made the same joke as the writers. I feel dirty.
You're no killer, Harvey Dent.
Dun dun dun. No, I didn't think Gotham Knights would create an entire episode just to destroy Batman. Again. In previous episodes, we've insulted him repeatedly. We've made him look like he was a complete fool. Repeatedly. And at the end of the last episode, I thought that was going to be it. Okay, we've said his entire life was a waste of time. And only at the end did he realize how to fix it. Which just so happens to agree with Hollywood ideas. But I thought that'd be the end of it until now, where it turns out they hate Batman so much they will do anything to annihilate him, to retcon his past, and just to make him look like an absolute piece of crap. And that's what this episode was. It doesn't seem to serve any other purpose. There was a bit of weird Sherlock Holmes stuff, but it was all meant to lead to one location. There wasn't really much point for the rest of it to exist. We just wanted everybody to know how much of a repulsive creature Batman was. And it's all because writers in Hollywood cannot stand somebody like Batman actually being liked, and so they have to destroy him as a character. And they really hope that everyone takes that on board. The message that you've been lied to about Batman, and if you look deep down, you'll know the truth. You'll know what Batman was really like, and he was really a horrible person. I can't imagine writing in an industry where you hate the very source material that your entire career is required to be based on. There's one thing I've learned over the last couple of years making these videos. It's that no matter how low you think that Hollywood writers can actually sink to, they can always get worse. And that's what happened here. But those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe. More videos like this in the future. And I will see you in the next one. Yeah, bye-bye.